Hello and welcome back to TechnoSurgeon YouTube channel. So first of all, RTX 5060 family has been launched. As we can see over here, NVIDIA has officially announced RTX 5060 and 5060 Ti. 5060 Ti starts at $379 and RTX 5060 starts at $300. I will go over it. The pricing is not that good when compared to the performance, as an RTX 5060 Ti 16 GB review has been done, and according to Tom's Hardware, as you can see over here, at 14 games tested as Geomin at 1440p Ultra preset, RTX 5060 Ti is currently not that fast compared to RTX 4070. It should be clearly close to the performance of RTX 4070. Maybe should have beaten it because it's a generation uplift, but here, as you can see, it just barely comes close to RTX 4070 level of performance, and it's 10% faster compared to RTX 4060 Ti. At 1080p, we see the similar thing where it's like 6 to 7 frames, maybe 10 frames faster compared to 4060 Ti, but clearly it's not close to even RTX 4070 performance. In pure rasterization, do note, as you can see at 4K also, the same scenario happens with RTX 4060 Ti, RTX 5060 Ti, and RTX 4070. In some scenario, even RX 7800 XT beats it, and 7700 XT is in some scenarios, yeah, it's truly bad. Like it's on par with RX 7700 XT, and 7700 XT is a previous generation graphics card, and it's not the latest generation, so this looks pretty bad for NVIDIA. As you can see over here, it's clearly in performance with RX 7700 XT, as you can see over here at 1080p medium presets, looking pretty bad. On top of that, this is the ray tracing performance for 1440p ultra preset. As you can see, in ray tracing also, RTX 5060 Ti is not that better compared to previous generation RTX 4070, and yeah, in with when compared to RTX 4060 Ti, it's a little bit better, but it's 10%, I will say. And clearly, as you can see over here, at 4K ultra preset, not that good. And on top of that, you can see over here the same scenario at 1080p ultra, and at medium, at 1080p medium, you can see it's not that good. And next up, we have some news regarding AMD, and AMD is literally dominating NVIDIA in every graphics segment. We already went over it in the previous videos, but now it's been confirmed. It comes from Manufacturing, which is a German retailer, European retailer per se, and their Radeon RX 9070 XT records a 10 times higher sales than RTX 5080 at Manufacturing. As you can see from the tweet here, RDN4 starts very strong in this week at Manufacturing. RX 9070 XT is selling 245 units, and when compared to RTX 5070, it's 40, 5070 Ti is 30. And when we go over here, RTX 5080 is less than greater than equal to 20. So it's when we compared it, like RTX 2080 is 20%, like 20 units, and RX 9070 is 245. So it's like normally 10 to 11 times fast better than RTX 5080, and also similar to 5070 Ti. 5079 to 10 times the stock of RX 9070 XT is selling like 10 to 11 times better compared to RTX 5080, 5070. Overall, AMD's graphics card is getting high demand. And this is something which we already saw, like AMD CEO claims that 9070 XT sales are 10 times higher than all previous Radeon generation, but that's just for the first week of availability. But this just confirms it, like AMD is dominating the competition. And why not? Because of this pricing structure. And if NVIDIA is giving like this kind of performance, clearly Radeon is providing more benefits, because when compared to the pricing and the benefit it offers over the previous generation, it's not that massive. But when we compare it to like Radeon's offering for like when you compare it for pure rasterization for 1080p. Here, RX 9070 116 previous generation when we compared it to the similar performance, like it's 90, it's almost like 20 frames, so it's like 20% faster. Clearly, people will switch from NVIDIA to AMD, and we can say like this level of performance their is due to performance per core, and NVIDIA is not getting this kind of a performance because they are focused more on AI and their DLSS 4 is providing most of the uplift, so it's a bad thing to see. Next up, we have some rumor. It comes from a reputable leaker which says like AMD's Radeon RX 9070 XT is to be announced in May, which is next month. It comes from this leaker and it's pretty reputable. It says in May, and it is similar to it will be launched during Computex. Announcement is set for Computex, and the launch is 2 weeks later. So RX 9060 XT is going to be revealed pretty soon, and we already went over it in previous video. It comes with 32 CUs, 128-bit bus, 16 or 8 GB of 19.5 or 20 gigabits per second GDDR6, 150 to 200 watt TDP. But at the same time, the performance is said to be above RTX 4060 Ti, but likely below 7700 XT. And if it is indeed the case, it will clearly dominate the competition from RTX 5060 Ti, because if this is the performance of RTX 5060 Ti, it is less, it is like on comparable to 7700 XT. And if 9060 XT provides this kind of a performance which it is above than RTX 4060 Ti and likely below 7700 XT, it is going to dominate it because the reason is it starts at 269 or 299 bucks for 8 GB SKU for 9060 XT. Even if we take the worst case scenario, which is 8 GB at 300 bucks, it literally starts at 300 bucks where RTX 5060 starts, and we didn't got the performance of RTX 5060 at this price at this point of time, because if we compared it like over here, 5060 also has like fewer cores compared to 5060 Ti. So if we come over here, it starts at 300 bucks. If we come over here and we see like we see over here, it's only 16 GB VRAM configurations. But if we compared it and say if these ones are for 8 GB, we can say like it will be less than like 50 frames over here. Maybe we can calculate it 40 frames, 45 frames per se. Then this card will dominate it for sure. And the 16 GB SKU for the it starts at 330 or 379 bucks in the worst case scenario. Even if it is 379 bucks, it's literally start at RTX 5060 Ti. And do not RTX 5060 Ti, when we compared it, it starts at 379 bucks. So RTX 5060 Ti with 8 GB configuration will start at 379 bucks. But here the 379 bucks will be for a 16 GB skill, so you are getting like totally instant performance. And yeah, AMD will be planning to dominate this segment yet again. Also, lastly for today, AMD's Zen 6 may feature new controllers that hinders DDR5 support. There is a plan because according to rumor which comes from China, next generation Zen 6 based Ryzen CPU will carry two distinct IMCs. It's supporting different RAM configuration. One of this is to be compatible with one team per channel, and that is dual slot, whereas the other handles exclusive two team, that is quad slot. So it looks pretty bad. Like currently the AM5 motherboard uses the first RAM slot level A0 and B0 for initial boot training, a thing that the new IMC can't handle. Instead, it requires DDR5 models to be placed in A1 and B1 slot. This apparently causes some incompatibility with dual slot boards that uses older 1D PC configuration as of now. Among new dual slot boards, MSI B850 Empower is said to be only to be fully comply with this new configuration. So indeed, Zen 6 is going to be a major departure compared to Zen 5. And as you can see over here, the problem is you have when you have dual slot, it is just like in when you have only two slots for your DDR5 RAM, the IPC controller just thinks like A0 and B0 is the module which you need to work with because it only has two DIMM slots. But in quad slot configuration, you can literally put it in A0, B0 or A1, B1 configurations. But here they are just changing the internal IMC, so it will cause some issues. We don't know much detail about it, but looking at it, Zen 6 is looking a pretty massive departure over the previous generation. I will keep you updated regarding it, but that's all we have regarding Zen 6 at this current point of time. But yeah, that's it from me today. What do you think about the news? Sound off your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll meet you in the next one. Peace out.